Hello and welcome to CS Week Virtual Touch 2020. I'm Lisa Collins, Educational Director with CS Week and your host today. This session features our Virtual Touch conference sponsor, Updater. This session is being recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing next month. You have the opportunity to upload questions in the Q&A panel. To do this, you would open your dashboard, click orange arrow in the upper screen, locate the questions, and then submit the questions here. And now I'm going to turn this over to our sponsor.
Well, hi guys, and thank you, Lisa, for that setup, and truly thank you to CS Week for everything you've done to make sure this educational event can occur in these most unusual circumstances. And welcome to our CS participants. You are hearing from Updater. I am Donovan. I've spent 20 years as an energy professional, really mostly in and around setting up consumer-facing products. My colleague here is Jenna Weinerman, and she is a marketing executive with a particular expertise in the mover space, and certainly a subject matter expert in digital. Our session here is making movers move to digital. We are going to show you from our experience, 7 years in the space, millions of data points, some trends and industry insights and knowledges and best practices, and how that might apply truly to your business. A couple of additional housekeeping items. This is intended to be an interactive session, so we ask you to use that chat functionality and ask questions, and we will do the best we can to accommodate those questions. Should we run out of time or have more questions than we can field, we are also hosting right after this event a Zoom booth. So you can come join us at that session and ask those questions, maybe in a less threatening, more informal fashion or otherwise. So let's get started. So moving is very painful. There are so many things to do when you move. For any of us who have moved recently in the past 4 or 5 years, you can remember those handmade lists that you wrote down, the discussions you're having with your spouse or otherwise on the things to try to remember. And we only do this very infrequently. The average consumer moves about 11.7 times in their lifetime. The thing to note, though, that creates about a 13 to 15 million people moving annually, quite a marketplace. And those consumers that do move spend somewhere between $9,000 and $11,000 either shortly before or shortly after they move. This makes them a primary target for your programs, consumer-facing products, or otherwise. The winner in this space will be the individual entity that organizes this chaos. So what do we believe? As our data will show you, and Jenna will walk you through it, that utilities are uniquely positioned to help organize that chaos. With that in mind, keep in mind that with that expectation and that opportunity comes increased expectations. Consumers are looking to engage with you in the manner and fashion in which they're comfortable doing so. And the phone call is the item that's going away. The expectation is to be able to do it with a click of a button. So where do you start? Is it the analog list that you see as our illustration and writing things down? Well, what we believe and our experience leads us to tell you is, why don't you listen to our consumers? So what we're going to walk you through again is millions of data points and hundreds of thousands of customers that have moved through our journey, and mine that data to show you what's important to them during this process.
Thanks, Dennis. I'm going to jump in here. Hi, everybody. I'm Jenna. We are going to talk a little bit about mover behavior, right? The who, what, where, when, why. Quick intro to Updater before we dive into this. We've been studying this for a long time. So we have built an app to help people move. We're the #1 app in America. A little over almost 30%, 25 to 30% of all Americans use our app when they move, which is fantastic. So we study this. We do this for a living. As Dennis mentioned, I've been doing this for almost 7 years now. So I'm going to share some insights with you guys that will help you grow your business on the backs of movers. It's really exciting. Obviously, a lot of folks who come to your company are moving. And what we've done is we realized that no two moves are alike, right? They're all snowflakes. They're slightly different depending on where you're moving from, where you're moving to, when you're moving, if you're moving interstate. if you're moving into a rental or an owner, if you own your home, right? It's all slightly different. So we built an app that's completely curated and personalized, and you're going to see this in just a few minutes. It's completely curated and personalized to each and every own unique move. So we know a little bit about mover behavior, and we're going to share that with you today. So what you see here on your screen, this is our first data point that we want to share with you. Based on user behavior and in-app surveys, we discovered that these are the top priorities for renters and for homeowners, right? This is what people need to tackle when they move. And you can see that your business actually sits right here, right at the very top of the owner and renter list for utility setup. You're the number 2 most important thing to do when people need to move. And setup in this instance is actually much more than just the simple turn on of their service, right? It also includes the programs and services that you want to introduce to your customers and everything else that they might need. So what you see here on the list, number 1, we're looking at internet, right? That's a no-brainer. Obviously, if you guys have moved recently, you know that you can't live without your internet setup. Insurance, very high on both lists as well. Why? Because there's different requirements. If you're moving from one state to another, you have to turn off your auto policy and move on to a new one. If you're moving into a rental, you 100% most likely need to have renter's insurance according to that property management company, etc. A moving company and a truck rental, you see here on number 4 for renter, 3 for owner. That's another no-brainer, right? That's a duh moment. You're moving all of your worldly possessions. You kind of need to make sure that you take the time to hire the proper moving company or get your belongings from point A to point B safely. And home essentials and home decor and furniture coming in at 5 and 4, left to right here. Those are defined, home essentials would be defined as hangers and organizational bins and cleaning products. Home essentials, right? All the things that you need to get moved in safely and cleanly. And home decor and furniture is also pretty obvious. Obviously, owners tend to have a bit more space. They have a greater need and more of a passion for decorating and furnishing their dream home. Given in a rental, you might not necessarily be able to paint or bring in everything that you want to do for that home. So these are the top priorities. This is what people have told us over the years, and there's opportunity for your business built right into these lists. Right now, you live here in number 2. You don't have to live in number 2, and we're going to talk more about that today. So the next topic here is that we just talked about you don't have to live in number 2. There's tangible opportunity to advise on all things home. And that's what we're really going to cover today, is that from everything from saving on your bills to protecting your home and setting up security to signing up for energy efficiency programs and everything in between, you have an opportunity, a real, true, tangible opportunity here to become a trusted resource. And that's really powerful, right? You can be the guide to getting people into their new home and getting settled in quickly. And if you do that, most of you probably do that today. A lot of you probably do it over the phone, but you can actually do it across any channel. And that's what we really want to sort of drive home, is that if you can be the trusted advisor for all things home on the phone in your call center today, why can't you do it digitally as well? So the topic of this session is moving movers to digital, right? We're going to talk about how you actually do that. We're going to provide some products and services and tools that you can actually learn how to do it and partner with us, and we can help you. But a lot of the knowledge you're going to learn here today, you can apply to your own digital experience and your own workflow to help make this fit for you guys. Now, if you do this, if you choose to be the trusted advisor for all things home, you have 2 options here, and you see them on the screen. There are 2 possible outcomes. You can have a really positive result, right? By offering additional products, programs, services, guides, you're giving the customer a chance to say yes, I want this from you. And the best possible outcome is that they do, and they buy something for you, and you generated incremental value for that user. Big win, 2 thumbs up from me here. But the worst possible outcome is that they say no to your offering. They say, oh, no, thanks, I don't want to be transferred, or oh, no, thanks, I don't want to do this, or skip this step if it's digital, right? The worst possible outcome is a completely neutral result, right? The customer says no, thank you, and move on. So at least in that case, you offered. So let's talk about some more mover behavior patterns and studies that we can help you determine which products and services and which digital offerings are right and at what time. Fun fact, 85% of all purchases made during a move life cycle are made pre-move. And these are really big purchases. These are the big, meaty ones, the subscription services that you need to kick in on day one of your move, right? You need internet, you need your utility set up, you need energy program adoption, right? A security system and monitoring, you need packing materials, you have to book that moving company. So a lot of people are making these purchases very early before the move actually takes place. And in fact, if you're curious, the average mover actually calls their utility for service changes during a move about 4 to 7 days in advance. 1 week is often considered crunch time, right? How many of you have moved in the past and it hits the 1 week mark and you're like, "Oop, forgot to do that," and you crunch it to get all those things done? The graph that you see here actually illustrates that beautifully. You see that 1 week mark, that's when people are calling your call center to transfer their service. And that's when they're actually making most of their additional purchases as well. And like Dennis said earlier, you know, so much to do and so little time. This actually sort of encapsulates that beautifully. Now, in terms of spend, right, there have been a lot of studies over the years with numbers as high as $11,000 for homeowners when they move. And of course, you're going to have really wide variety of data when it comes to studying how much people spend. It just depends on the size of their home, if they're moving local or long distance, how they choose to move their belongings, the things that they sign up for, etc. But in studying our own mover base, what we found is exactly what you see here, is that the majority of homeowners are actually spending under $5,000, and the majority of renters are spending anywhere from 2 to 4. Additionally, this is sort of just like a fun little nugget at the bottom here, nearly half of all movers spend more than they anticipated spending, and certainly that has been the case with all of my moves over the years. This next slide is what's most important to movers. This is one that if you have your cell phone out, take a screenshot of this one. This one's really important. Just snap a photo right now. Again, this will be available after, but if you want to just take this with you, please do. The most important thing to movers, we surveyed them, we asked them what their North Star is. If you have a North Star for your move, what are the guiding principles that you want your move to be driven by? And 70% of folks say that settling in quickly is absolutely critical. And in surveying on this exact topic, people have written things like, I want to set up my electric. I want to set up the things that are most important to me. I need to set up the things that are necessary, right? And this is critical because it guides what businesses do. So if you are in a business, which you are, where you're dealing with people who are moving, you know now that they want to settle in quickly. You also know that 60% of them want to save money during their move. That's a critical time for you to introduce energy efficiency programs and things that will help people not only save money, but also settle in quickly. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. And in terms of what's most important to them, let's keep those things in mind. So what have we really learned here through these mover behavior slides? I want to introduce one more concept that will help tie this all together. And that's that brand loyalties are a little bit vulnerable during a move. Now, if you move, I live in New York, if you move from New York to California, or you're moving from Seattle to Miami, wherever you're moving, you're most likely not going to be doing the same types of activities that you do on a regular basis and shopping from the same stores and vendors, right? You're going to try new things. If I move from New York to California, I am certainly not going to be going to the same nail salon every week. I'm not going to the same pizza place. So what we know about movers is that movers are 4 times more likely to try new brands and try new programs during the move. They're more open-minded about trying new things. And 85% of them are going to choose the first brand that's presented to them. Why? Because it's easy, it's convenient. So if you can put the first warranty program, or you can put the first energy efficiency program or weatherization program in front of someone, they're most likely going to choose it. Why? Because it's natural, it's consumer behavior. You know, if you move to a new home and you're a CVS customer, let's say, but there's a Walgreens 2 blocks away and it's midnight and the baby's crying, you're going to the Walgreens, right? Because convenience is king. It's really as simple as that. So what we've learned through all of these mover studies that I've shared with you today, and what we've learned from studying it in terms of how you can use it and leverage it in your space, is that we've learned that, okay, we just explained Updater offers a moving app. We're essentially a moving concierge, right? We're going to talk more about that in a bit. But that's what we do. And we learned that movers can only prioritize a handful of to-dos at one time. And those top priorities involve your business. Movers want to get in, they want to get settled in quickly. They have brand loyalties that are becoming valuable, and you know that they're contacting you right at crunch time. That's really powerful, right? So why not be able to offer additional products and services at that crunch time moment? And we're going to talk about what that can look like.
So why, you might ask, why digital? Concierge is not a new concept in the utility space. The on-phone transfer concierge programs have been around. They've been well received. There's been early adopters. There's been value added. This marketplace is real, but we know based on the data that we're mining that times are changing. Call fatigue is real. Being on the phone to solve your issues is something that the new marketplace has very little tolerance for. So if you look at those top two value propositions, which is settle in quickly and save money, you can do that with a program by never making a phone call. Customers want drive and click, and they want DIY, and they want to operate on their phone.
I certainly do. Great, thanks, Dennis. So, just bringing it back to the industry, let's talk about this, right? We're going to talk a little bit about things that we offer, how that meshes with what you offer, how that meshes with everything that we just learned about mover behavior. And we offer a suite of turnkey tools. I mentioned we offer a moving app. Obviously, that's for consumers. There are a lot of different ways we can leverage this, though. But what we do is we offer consumers the ability to set up their internet, set up their utilities. We're going to look at that. Book a moving company, update your address, forward your mail, secure insurance. Lots of different steps. We actually have 25 different features that we offer within one suite, and we can help drive a lot of adoption for your programs. We can offer some interesting value adds, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we keep going. But this session is all about exceeding expectations, right? Dennis, there are some easy ways that this suite of technology can help.
Yeah, and recall that this particular utility setup step in this program is not just the utility turn on, right? It's what's important to your marketplace, what's important to your constituents, whether that's energy efficiency, whether that's weatherization, whether that's adoption to a deregulated program such as home warranties or otherwise. This utility step, as we mentioned earlier, is uniquely curated for your marketplace and your constituents.
Thanks. So this session is about exceeding expectations, right? That was the subtitle, was exceed expectations and generate smiles. We're getting to that. That's what we're going to talk about now. So we talked about movers. We know what they want, when they want, how you can help. Great. But how do you actually exceed those expectations and deliver those smiles along the way? We're not just going to meet them, we're going to exceed them. And I'm going to give you a few examples. All right. Has anyone, I'm sure some people on the, I was going to say has anyone, but we're not, I think you are all muted here. Bear with me, technology. So what you see here on the screen is the inside of a Target store, and they're offering umbrella bags on a really rainy day. And what's really powerful about this is we're talking about how to exceed expectations here. This is a real live example. Target knows what their consumers want and need, and they are providing them these umbrella bags before the consumer even needs to ask, right? That's a really great example of customer service, right? We talk about customer service a lot. This whole event is called CS Week. This is the business that we're in. We're all about providing additional service. This is a really great example because Target knows what a consumer needs. Target has met that expectation. Target generated a smile with their little logo raindrops here on the sign. They made it look really easy. It's one simple thing. It's almost invisible, right? It blends in when you walk into the store, but it's right there and available for you to take one, meet those needs, and actually generate smiles along the way. I think this is a really great example of Target not only delivering great customer service, but actually implementing something that we call Omotenashi. So we're going to talk about this. For those of you who've never heard of Omotenashi, Omotenashi is a Japanese hospitality principle, and it's based in the anticipation of customer needs. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Japanese perfection and how amazing they are at delivering great customer service. It's been studied for many years. There's this theory, and it's a principle. It's something that I've studied and we've applied at Updater, which is anticipating someone's needs before they have to ask for it. So Target, in that example of that umbrella bag, they're not simply delivering good customer service or great customer service. They're actually anticipating a need and providing something before someone needs to ask for it, because service sometimes implies a monetary exchange, right? We expect customers to pay for an additional service. This is not about that. Omotenashi is performed without an expectation of anything in return. And since we're all here together, and this might be a new term for some of you, I'd like to share a little bit of history about where this principle came from and how it was derived. I find it to be extremely interesting and useful when it comes to trying to figure out what your customers need and delivering on that, right? So the concept is said to have been established by the grandfather of the Japanese tea ceremony through his way of entertaining his guests at a tea ceremony. So if you've ever attended a tea ceremony, they're extremely intricate, right? Everything from the flowers to the tea set, to the decorations that are out, to what type of tea you're drinking, to the teacup that you're drinking out of. Everything is meticulously chosen. And this grandfather of this tea ceremony, the man who invented this, he wanted each experience to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And in order to prepare for that true level of hospitality, it requires sincere preparation. You have to pick all those tiny little details. And for example, the teacup. The perfect teacup could make or break the ceremony. So therefore, a lot of invisible thought and care goes into every single detail of that ceremony. And that invisible thought and care is what we call omotenashi. So what Target did and what they showed and what that photo showed with the umbrella bags, that was invisible thought and care. It almost happens behind the scenes and you forget about it. That's a perfect example of omotenashi. And according to history, one must put his heart into delivering the most excellent experience, and it must be sincere, right? Going back to the service element, it's not about service. Omotenashi is performed without an expectation of anything in return, and Target does not expect a tip or anything additional in return for that wet umbrella bag, right? It's invisible, it just happens. And sometimes you don't notice it, and that's what makes it perfect and beautiful. That's the exact point of it, is that it's the invisible touch that makes something perfect or makes that perfect tea ceremony. And bringing it back to our world, it's those invisible touches that make the perfect customer experience. Here are two more examples of omotenashi in practice every day that you might not even realize. You see on the left here, there's a basket under a chair in a restaurant. Why? As a female, I don't want to put my purse on the floor. I spent a lot of money on this purse. I picked it. I love it. I don't want to put it on the floor where people put their feet, right? And track germs in from outside. So they provide an under chair basket. They know that the women or men who are carrying bags are going to want to put their bag right under there. And it's just a wonderful anticipation of someone's needs before they need to ask for it. On the right side here, we see a wedding bathroom basket. How many times have you been to a wedding and in the bathroom, there's a basket filled with floss and all the things that you might have not brought? The host of that party is anticipating that their guests might need that. And that is the ultimate in customer service, if we're going to call it that, or another perfect example of omotenashi. And to me, as a marketer, this is where you start to merge creativity, customer needs, and marketing. You put them all together, and that's how you can deliver these impeccable experiences. And when you do them sincerely, and like the tea ceremony, for example, it is viewed and perceived very well by your customers. And that's where we get into not only exceeding customer expectations, but also delivering smiles. You walk into the bathroom, the basket's there, the floss that you so desperately need is there, and you smile. You're like, oh, thank God the floss is there. And that is how, that's sort of what we're going to show you that you can do when it comes to movers today.
So what does that mean to our space, to the energy and utility space? In fact, if you don't already know it, you're already deploying omotenashi, right? You might not use that word with all the big syllables, but we as energy experts know what the consumers need often before they do. Let's be honest, utility and energy setups can often be a set up and forget it, right? But these value-added programs that you guys are already running, whether it's energy efficiency, weatherization, demand-side management, or otherwise, they are very value-add. We're doing it today. The real challenge is not the program. It's really how do we effectively and efficiently deploy that program. So you know what they need, you know how to meet their needs. So really what's needed is a unique approach towards the engagement and interaction with the customer. Meet them on their terms to be able to give them the product or services that meet their needs. We know they meet their needs. Let's do it prior to them even understanding it's important to them. And in this case, let's take a look at 2 real-world examples in our space. So Verst is a very large utility. We are under NDA and privacy, so we'll not name names, but it's a consumer that serves millions of, utility that serves millions of customers. And they were ahead of their time. They understood that the concierge and the ability to deal with folks on the phone would slowly migrate to a digital environment. There was resistance towards deploying that digital environment, so there was an engagement with Updater. So we, as you will see during the demo, deployed and walked down the path of what was important to their consumer base and constituents. What happened? We transferred over 100,000 interactions that would have otherwise occurred on the phone call over to a digital-only transaction. As you guys that know and run CS, you know the value and the expense of reducing 100,000 phone calls. In addition to that cost savings, depending on what your cost structure is, there was also over $300,000 of incremental revenue earned on behalf of that utility. Another example. Similar industry, different footprint, and different needs. This partner in particular had alternative programs that they were having a challenge getting deployed within their concierge environment. So you may have those particular programs. It's important to your marketplace that you want to deploy and get adoption. So after an engagement with Updater and our digital solutions, as well as a full turn concierge solution, we were able to get over nearly 500,000 customers to adopt to a non-regulated after the meter program. That results in both revenue and value for the enterprise wide, as well as predictability and home maintenance for their constituents. So how do you do that? How do we do that? What are the tools and techniques that we can help you deploy in partnership? There's really 6 different variety and 1 turnkey concierge solutions. The ones on the left may seem and look a little bit more traditional in terms of the phone call app. Listen, the phone call's not going away. Consumers are always going to call us, right? So we can handle that phone call on your move-in on your behalf and offer these other programs and services as well as your programs. Or if you want to keep that consumer experience yourself, you can handle the utility turn on, transfer that program to us. And all the things that you will see here in the demo, as well as others, we can deploy on the phone. The left-hand side is really a suite of 4 individual digital-based, technology-based solutions. We have the ability to license our technology to you and empower your agents to use the technology to offer products and services within your call center. No need for a transfer, no need to outsource. We can arm you and you can do it yourself. And additionally, if the phone application is something that is complementary to a concierge program, the digital is what enhances it more. We can fully deploy and invite your consumers to a digital experience where they can handle all of these steps and functions in one fell swoop. If your digital environment is something that you're very proud of and you want to hold on to that digital experience within your digital assets, we can complement those digital assets with our incremental products and services, and we will work with you in concert to figure out where those assets and products should be deployed. And finally, for anything that you're looking to accomplish within your marketplace, you can take those products and services and deploy it into our digital arena. As I'm sure Jenna will go through, we actually have access to millions of customers that are moving, and we know they're moving prior to when you know they're moving. So that makes it a right opportunity to set up their utilities and offer other programs and services. 1 turnkey concierge solution with 6 different phases.
Awesome. Thanks, Dennis. So we are going to jump into a demo now of our product. We've been telling you we built this awesome app for moving. Let's take a look at it. I will pause for 1 second here and offer the opportunity to ask some questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the box. Lisa and Dennis are going to field them while I get our demo set up. So just bear with me for 1 second here.
Dennis, I pushed one to your Q&A panel.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. So Dennis, I'm ready unless you want to take that question.
Why don't you go ahead and get started? Let me navigate where the question is.
Okay, cool. Whoever submitted, thank you. We will get to it in just a second. So, all right. If everyone could bear with me here, I'm going to orient you to what you're seeing on your screen. So what we're looking at right now is Updater's app for movers. We provide this to consumers who are moving to help them accomplish anything and everything that they need to do to get ready for their move, right? There are a lot of questions around moving. What do I need to do? How much is it cost me? How much is it? When do I need to do everything, right? There are a lot of questions involved in this. So we built our app and our product to actually help people tackle that and answer those questions and do everything in one place. So what you see here, I'm going to orient you to the top, but as you scroll down, you can see this is our dashboard. And just like a dashboard in your car, this is home base. This is where you can set up and tackle all of your to-dos and chores related to your move. Now, Dennis mentioned to you that we have this concierge that you can leverage in a lot of ways. I know everything that he just sort of went through, there's 6 different ways we can partner together. I'm going to reiterate them here as we walk through this demo together, because sometimes it can be a little confusing to hear it without seeing it. So Dennis and I can jump in and out, and if you have more questions as we go, Lisa and Dennis are going to be fielding them, so feel free to jump in. So what you're looking at here right now is I'm Jenna, and this is my move. I have a dashboard, I have my menu up in the top right, and I have been invited into Updater's app by a fake electric company and gas company called Bright Gas and Electric. I made this up for the purpose of today's demo, just to help you understand how this can look and feel. Now, what Bright, we're going to just call them Bright for short, what Bright is doing is they have partnered with Updater to offer Jenna and all of their moving customers opportunity to work with Updater and to get access to this app. One important thing to know about Updater is that if you go to updater.com and you're moving, you cannot use our app. It's 100% invitation only, which means that the only way that Jenna or any other moving customer could get into our app is by partnering with Bright Gas and Electric and Bright being able to offer that to their customer. So if Jenna's moving and she wants to use it, she can't. This is a perfect value add for you to be able to offer to your customers. So
and Jenna, as long as you're kind of covering that ground, it's really relevant to the question that came in. So I'll sort of offer the question up and kick an answer and build on it, right? So the question's in around, if these transactions are so invisible and so digital, how does the utility get credit for offering this valuable product and services? 1, and then 2, how do we measure customer satisfaction? So as you can see with the step that Jenna is going through, right, it's a co-branded or white labeled experience. So the consumers will imprint upon you because you brought this service to them, right? You see Bright Energy, Gas and Energy right there. So they will know that you are the entity that's bringing them this convenience and this one-stop shop. As relative to customer satisfaction, I think you saw in our case study a 73 NPS. We uniquely hit our customer base with customer satisfaction surveys and otherwise, and we would work with you jointly on what are the most important attributes for that customer satisfaction survey. And we are full transparency, sharing all verbatims and whatnot, and we partner with you in that analytics and solutions towards anything that can increase customer satisfaction.
And Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, but we actually have partners with which we send CSATs on their behalf.
That's correct.
Right. Great. Okay, good question. So what we're looking at here, again, this is our mover-facing app. This is something that you can offer to your customers. This was one of the 6 options that Dennis read off of our menu, if you will. And what we can do is not only brand this for your company and invite your consumers in as they're getting ready to move, but we can also layer your products and services and programs and things that you're looking for extra adoption of into this app. So what you see here, let's put ourselves into Jenna's shoes, for example, and pretend that we're moving. She's moving May 29th. It's 11 days away. She's moving locally within Nashville. So you can see here, it says, let's get you ready for your move to Nashville. And as Jenna is getting ready to tackle all of her moving to-dos and chores, she can click into any one of these steps and actually tackle them. So if I click into forward my mail, for example, Bear with me, here we go. So we have the old address, the new address. This is the USPS mail forwarding form, right? This is something that 100% of consumers who are moving need to tackle. It might have not been on that top priority list we looked at earlier, but it's something that everyone needs to do. So by offering our platform, this is something that you would be able to offer those consumers. Now, this is, like I said, this is the official USPS form. It's fast, it's free, it's secure. You hit submit and off it goes to the post office. Now, one of the things that Dennis mentioned, actually, I wish we could have a split screen happening here between the demo and that menu page that we were looking at. But one of the things that Dennis mentioned is we have the ability, Dennis said, if you like your digital experience, we have the ability to sort of break apart the Updater app and lodge that into your own experience. So one thing to keep in mind as we walk through these steps here is that if there's something that you like, but you really also have worked hard to perfect your own digital experience, we can actually take these steps and plug them into your experience. We have APIs to be able to do that. And if you want to say, let's say, for example, you want your customers to be able to forward mail, they can do that directly you guys can leverage our step, pull it out of our app essentially, and plug it into yours or into your own digital workflow. So you can offer this as a turnkey solution, really, really easy to do, or you can break it apart and move it into your own workflow. We're really flexible. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute. That is our mail forwarding step. When people forward their mail, one thing that people don't realize often is that the USPS simply redirects your mail from point A to point B. They don't actually notify any of the businesses that you care about that you've moved. So we provide a really clear-cut and easy turnkey way for people to update anything from magazines, newspapers, and catalogs to loyalty programs to their alumni associations just by searching for it. So for example, I like to read Entrepreneur Magazine. I type it in and there it is. I hit submit. I also might read the New York Post, I live in New York City, etc. And you can just choose as many magazines and newspapers that you want and actually update them all in one shot, which is a really beautiful way to save time and provide additional value to your customers. This is a great example of Omotenashi. This is what we're talking about. If you know that your customers are moving, give them a little bit more, right? You know that they need it. We offer a handful of other steps I'm going to just show you that are a little bit more in-depth than the simple ones I just shared. These are deeper workflows, more vertically integrated into the industries in which we serve. So if you want to move your stuff, for example, there are two ways to do that. You can hire a professional moving company or do it yourself. I'm just going to walk through this workflow really quickly. What we're doing is we're asking the consumer a set of questions to be able to put the best moving companies at the best prices in front of them for what they need for their own unique home. So I'm going through some home details right now, and I end up on an inventory page where I now know exactly what I have in my home. I also have the ability to add items. I can add dining room furniture or living room furniture or bathroom or office. I can add whatever kind of things I need to my inventory, including things like air conditioners and dehumidifiers, and we also have appliances. So if you offer those appliance service plans, we actually know whether people are moving them or not. Really interesting way, and this creates really cool opportunities for us to partner together and plug those appliance service plans when it matters most. And here we can show off all the moving companies that can tackle my move on the exact date and time that I need it. These are fake moving companies just for the purpose of our demo today, but you can see how this is sort of a kayak-like experience for booking a moving company, all built right within the app. Now, we do something similar as well on the television and internet front. So I'm going to walk through this step really quickly here. What you can see, we're going to ask people another set of questions to be able to provide them with the most curated experience possible. How do you want to hook up your home? Do you want a new service or transfer? Great, I want a new service. How many people are using it? And again, we're going to ask some qualifying questions to be able to put the best possible experience in front of our consumers and give them the options that meet their needs. And in this case, Xfinity, Verizon, Optimum all service their home. There are different packages for internet and phone, and the consumer can actually select those and book. Now, this is really interesting. If television and internet, Dennis mentioned, some companies and some utilities out there are doing this today. You guys might be partnered with us, or you might be partnered with another concierge provider and offering television internet. But why not take it a step further, right? Why not be able to offer that in a digital way when we're all aware of the fact that things are moving to digital? There are a lot of sessions at this conference this week all around this exact topic about digital and data security and privacy and where the world is moving. Everything is pointing to the fact that movers, yes, Dennis mentioned also, the call is not going to go away, but if we can move more movers to digital, we will exceed their expectations and deliver smiles. I know that was really lame and I just said the name of our session in this conversation here, but what you can see from a screen like this is that that's what we're actually doing, is in the process of moving someone to digital, we're actually delivering on their expectations, reducing the need to have to call, reducing the need to talk to multiple companies at once, right? That's one of the big pain points of moving, is that you have to call everybody at once. And it's frustrating. And that's why we built our company, and that's why we do what we do. I'm going to show off one more step here, and then we will pause, answer some more questions, and do a little wrap up. So we're nearing the end of this. One last step here, and this is an activity in trying to see the art of the possible and trying to see everything that we can do together down the road. We have a step right now called contact utilities. What this step does is it showcases the electric, gas, and water providers that service one address that Jenna is moving to. In this case, Jenna, our user, is moving within Nashville, and we're going to show her the electric, gas, and water companies that service her new home. Opportunities here, right? One, we can place your electric and gas or water setup right here into this step and allow folks to digitally enroll in your product directly through our app. Other opportunities that you see here, we can do that as well for your warranty products, for your energy efficiency programs, for your affordability programs. I didn't show you here today, but the steps that you see back on this dashboard, I'm going to back up here. The steps that you see here, these aren't the only steps we have. These are the perfect steps for Jenna being invited by Bright, moving on May 29th to a local move within Nashville. If her stipulations of her move and the different criteria of her move met different rules, she would see different things. Owners and renters see different things. Local and long distance see different things. If you're invited by Bright Gas and Electric, and Bright Gas and Electric has a fantastic warranty program, guess what? You're going to see it right here in this app. And we will work with you to make sure that that happens. So as Dennis mentioned, there are a handful of ways we can work together. One, we can take some of those phone calls for you. Two, we can pick up your phone calls. Three, we can offer this moving app that you see right here to your customers. Four, the technology that our call center uses, you can use that too. We can give that to you and you can license it. You can say, hey, Updater's call center is placing orders for television, internet, home security, moving, etc., whatever it may be. We can license that technology to use so that your call centers can actually sell some of these products and services or drive adoption for different things over the phone. That was 4. Number 5, if you like what you see in these steps and in these features, we can actually give them to you. I mentioned that earlier. We can break apart the app. You don't have to invite people into our app. Instead, you can embed our features into your own digital experience. And number 6, of course, we can put your programs, your products, your services, your warranties, whatever they may be, into our app. So all the users that are invited into Updater long before their moves getting started by real estate companies and property management companies that we work with all across the country. I mentioned we have about 28% market share, right? All those users can be introduced to you and to your products and services and programs long before they would ever think about calling you. So
just one, Bill, just think about the art of the possibility of a utility setup step within your environment and your constituents. You guys know the cost of taking a phone call, right? If you can eliminate 10,000 phone calls and they're anywhere from $15 to $20 per call, do the math quickly. There is a true OE savings in the ability to allow folks to digitally turn on within your environment and within your marketplace. And certainly the program adoption, depending on what your goals are, we've exceeded our partners' expectations. So when Jenna talks about this being a purely curated experience for the consumer based on what we know of them, it's also a purely curated experience for our partners in terms of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. Great point. So let's wrap this up. Let's tie this up with a pretty bow right now. We have an incredible mover app. You can plug your products and services into it. You can drive additional value. You can meet and exceed those expectations, and you can drive those smiles in a lot of different ways, whether it's driving those smiles in your own experience, over the phone, over email, through digital, and what you're seeing here. As I mentioned very early on, you can deliver smiles and exceed expectations across any channel. And movers are ripe for the taking, right? We learned that their brand loyalties are vulnerable. We learned that they contact you in crunch time. We learned that they are looking for these products and services. So why not offer them? And if you're looking for a turnkey partner to help you with that, we're right here. You can ask us questions right now. So I'm going to slip back here into this presentation. That about wraps up the demo part, but there are two sort of additional things we want to leave you with. Dennis?
Yeah, so if it hasn't already sort of resonated with you, the opportunity here certainly is a wealth of both information and consumer driving behavior that we can help your constituents with, right? I'm not going to run and read through the list, but top of the list, utility program adoption. But really, if you really summarize it in one sentence, it's we can bring a digital environment into your landscape that can help your movers with whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it's a great way to sum it up. So in recap here, we talked about what movers want and need. We learned a new term in Omotenashi, and I hope that you take that with you. And then the how, right? We learned the why, but the how do we actually launch this is every utility is different, right? We're really flexible, as you've seen. You guys are really flexible. We need to just develop the best solution together. So we'd love for you to email us at marketing@updater.com, or you can visit our virtual trade show booth. So for the rest of the day today through 5:00 p.m. Eastern time, Dennis and I are hosting a virtual booth. We even have our booth shirts on, as you can see here, but we are hosting a virtual trade show booth. We're trying this for the first time. We will be hanging out in the Zoom room that you see right here on the screen, and Lisa will actually post the link to it in the chat. It's already there. And thank you, Lisa. And Lisa will also email you after the presentation through GoToWebinar. In that follow-up email, you will receive the link to this Zoom. So if you guys would like to join us in the Zoom, there will be virtual swag as well. So we actually have an Updater swag store, and by coming to visit us, you will be eligible for some free items from the swag store. You can pick your color, pick your size, pick what you like. Just come see us in the swag store and we will ship it to you so that you have it for your quarantine. And you'll also be entered to win these beautiful Bose headphones. These are the new ones. They're the best ones on the market. And we want to make sure that everyone's quarantines are kept peaceful, successful, quiet, you can focus. And obviously, we would also like to meet and exceed your expectations and deliver smiles from this presentation today. So we really appreciate you joining us in this COVID-19 environment from our homes. And thank you guys for joining us today. We really hope that you'll join us at the booth. Swing by, say hi, get to know us. We'd love to get to know you. And we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
So we have a little bit of time left if somebody wants to shoot a question over. We took one question. If you feel more comfortable joining us at the booth, I promise you we don't bite. And you're eligible for those prizes.
So Dennis, I've pushed some questions over to you. Have you picked those up yet?
Oh my goodness. Technology on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa, I only saw the first question. How do I get to the second question?
You should be able to expand your questions box and it shows you all the rest of them. They're there.
Hey, Lisa, do you want to read the question?
Sure, I can do that.
All right.
Let's see. All right, so here's one. It says, it's a question regarding start service request for gas utilities. Do you integrate with the utilities field service scheduler to be able to book a start service appointment in real time?
I'll take that question. And yes, with the partners that we're actively engaged with, we have capability to embed right within via API their start service application. We can also, handle it in a more analog fashion if customers are interested in setting up and you're not ready to receive that kind of technology, because sometimes that's a constraint. We can also send that in batch process, so we can do real time or batch process. Good question.
Yep, great question. The next question come in was, how do you measure overall customer satisfaction with your service? And how do you present that to partner utilities? There's a couple of follow-on questions with that one too. How do you measure overall customer satisfaction with your service? Oh, I think it just doubled it. Never mind, sorry. How do you measure overall customer satisfaction with your service, and how do you present that to partner utilities?
Yeah, so we uniquely send out a survey to every customer that transaction interacts with us, either over the phone or digitally. And we work with that partner in terms of what the important features and attributes are within that CSAT. But we use a 5-point question and follow the NPS methodology and capture both detractors and promoters. And come up with a unique score. And then we set a benchmark and a goal with our host partner utilities, and then we drive efforts to improve that activity. In addition, we share all the CSAT verbatims and whatnot and review them in a very methodical way each and every month.
Very good. Sorry, the next question is, does the consumer receive confirmation for each service to which they initiated action?
They do. Yeah, great question. Not only do they receive the confirmation for the different actions that they've taken through the Updater platform, but we also provide them with something that we call, in terms of emails, it's called a life cycle email. For those marketers on the line, you'll recognize that nickname there. But basically, a life cycle email is guiding someone through a process that can be complicated, right? And it's making sure that we're taking care of people throughout their move life cycle, throughout the journey that they're spending with us. So at 7 days pre-move, they receive XY, this particular email. And at 4 days, they receive this email. And at 2 days post-move, they receive this email. So we do have a lot of life cycle campaigns driven to help guide consumers through this flow. As I mentioned, we've been studying this for a very long time, and we've perfected this flow to the point where we know exactly how, what the best date is to do this activity, or what the best date pre-move is to do this activity. So we have a lot of that internal proprietary knowledge that we share on behalf of our partners with all the consumers.
Terrific. So the next question I have is, how long can movers have access to the app per move after accessing it?
Yeah, good question. The answer is forever. So this is super cool. So once you're invited to Updater, let's say by Bright Gas and Electric, you will always have an Updater account, and someone can come back in and start a new move whenever they're ready to. So they will always have access to this. And again, in my question, sorry, that just drives a lot of value, right? If this is something that's quite exclusive and invitation only, to be able to deliver that from your company, I think is a wonderful value add.
I agree too. The next question is the application multilingual?
Good question. It's not right now. It is fully national. It does cover all 50 states in America, not multilingual. Dennis, do we do anything multilingual on the call side?
We do have bilingual and or non-English speaking lines on the concierge on the phone side. We'll have to work the roadmap on the digital side.
Yeah.
Very good. So Dennis and Jenna, that's the last questions I see in my Q&A panel. Do y'all have anything in yours that has come through maybe?
I don't see any, but we will be in the Zoom. We're going to head out of here and head over to our booths. So everyone who's remaining on the call, please feel free to join us. Again, we've got awesome gear and obviously myself and Dennis here to answer questions and just chat about marketing, energy, Omotenashi, whatever it is you want to talk about. And Lisa, thank you very much for hosting us. We really appreciate this.
Oh, my pleasure. We're so glad that you were able to join us for our virtual touch conference.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye all.